Hi there, it's Sarah from Inspire Tarot. Welcome to the channel. This is my first video. I've been doing lots of shorts. I'm familiarising myself with all the different cards, the 78 different cards, and I'm absolutely loving it. I love the aesthetics of the cards. I'm a big fan of colour and the way things look. And Spirit is using my interest in aesthetics and spirituality to help with honing my intuition and also helping me with shadow work. So really I just wanted to document the journey, and I hope it inspires you all as well. I really wanted to document my journey right from the beginning rather than wait until I'm really polished at it, so I can look back and see, where I've come from. Also, I just want to be as real as possible and just keep it raw and real, because that's what I appreciate about other readers and about anybody in life generally, really, just to show up as our raw self. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this video. So yeah, these are beautiful cards today. The Hierophant, the Two of Voices, which is the Two of Swords, and the Empress. So what's coming through today is basically a battle in the mind between being a normal human being and really starting to make progress on the spiritual path. It can be very difficult to tear ourselves away from what we know as our normal life, but I think we really do get to a stage where we need to grow, and we need to kind of peel ourselves away from the physical world. Yeah, it sounds crazy. I mean, it's no easy job. I used to be extremely materialistic and feel like, that we had to get things in the material world in order to be fulfilled. But then over time you realize that you do receive everything in the return. I was receiving lots of things and it still wasn't making me happy. I was still feeling like something was missing. And I think this is where the Hierophant comes in. It's kind of the spiritual wise counsel aspect of ourselves that knows that there's something more, that is interested in spiritual awakening. And yeah, we're kind of forced to pursue it, but we feel very torn at the same time. That's why it's really just a gradual path of listening to the spirit and searching for the information that we need. I feel as though we're always guided towards the information we need whenever we have an interest, because we have to remember that everything is coming from inside us anyway, because everything is just a dream. So as our consciousness levels up, I kind of see it as we open up information within us. It becomes available to us, information that we probably wouldn't have made any sense to us, or we wouldn't have felt anything before. It just opens up. And I also find as well that we hear things. We may hear something and in the back of our mind we may know it's important, but we kind of know it's important, but at the same time it doesn't have much relevance, or it doesn't really land very well. But over time, if we just kind of let things percolate and keep our prayer that things come through to us, then they do over time. I know this when I read books. I might read a book and then 2 years later I'll read it again and it just lands so much deeper. Things make so much more sense. And we know that consciousness never goes backwards. So yeah, I feel that in my own personal journey, I've just become less and less interested in external things, or less attached to them. I mean, the spirit still uses our whims and our interests to guide us forward. It can seem, from the ego's perspective, it can seem a little bit like the ego kind of uses us in a way, a bit like pawns, in a way where we compulsively go towards things that interest us, even though part of the spiritual journey is having the ego undone. So I think quite often what happens is, on our spiritual journey, we think, oh, I really don't want to be triggered, please help me awaken without being triggered. But really that's antithetical to the process, because the process of awakening is to go through the darkness to the light, is to face every single trigger. And we really need to become very comfortable with facing ourselves. And I think one of the things I've found as well is when we're prepared to face our feelings and face our shadow gracefully, then it's much less painful, it's much less frightening. It's when we resist it, it's when we fear the shadow and all the dark things in our consciousness and the whole journey that it just seems terrifying. But yeah, so it can be a dilemma, and yeah, and I feel like we go backwards and forwards on our journey. You know, at the beginning it's very much like, oh, I can't do this, I just want to go back to a normal life. But then we realise that we can't really go back, that, you know, once our consciousness is expanded, then we go past the point of no return, and we know that going back is just going to bring more pain, so we have to keep moving forwards. So yeah, all I really can suggest is that we just need to sit tight and kind of accept the path as it unfolds, and we become more and more trusting over time. Sorry, my cat's just appeared. Yeah, we can still live our normal life, we can still continue to do more normal things, and I think things just fall away gradually, at a pace that we're comfortable with, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're always going to be torn between the spirit and the ego, until eventually the ego just seems nonsensical and we just want to move away from it completely, because we realise that everything the spirit brings us actually does bring us peace. The spirit knows what we want. The spirit knows that we want this unity, this peace and this happiness, whereas the ego is always looking for instant gratification based on our distortions. So I mentioned earlier, you know, that we want to wake up, but we want to wake up without facing ourselves, which really doesn't work. We have to go through the darkness. But it can be an exciting adventure, and it's really nice to meet other people on the journey as well. So yeah, finding our soul tribe is super important, and I've met very many people on my spiritual journey who just really support me, and yeah. So I hope this is helpful for my first video. Much love to you all. Bye.